Contrast was originally released way back on November 15th, 2013, and came to Game Pass on February 3rd, 2022. A noir-style platformer with an interesting shadowy twist, you can bet I was excited to give this one a shot. Small, simple games like this usually have endless potential with how they can twist their mechanics. We're going to hit the lights and let you know if Contrast is worth your time.
I don't mind when I dream.
Contrast is the type of game I hate the most, a disappointment. This game has all of the aces in hand with its premise and wastes every single one of them. Now that I've whet your appetite, we're going to quickly go over what I actually liked about the game. The whole idea of flipping between 3D physical platforming and 2D shadow platforming is so cool. There are a select few moments where everything comes together in this game and it hurts all the more to get a glimpse of what could have been. That's it. That's all the good in the gameplay department. This game is hot garbage, and I'm going to let you know why in detail. First, let's start with controls. Everything is so floaty and clunky. Your character jets off from a standstill and is very finicky to control. Not once in the game did I feel like I had complete control over my character. There's not a lot of precision platforming here, but when your character is not fun to move around in your platformer, something has gone terribly wrong. Second, the game never tries to reinvent its core mechanic. Puzzles are either moving lights to make shadow platforms or getting boxes to pressure plates. There is no building on mechanics, no combinations of lessons learned together, no challenge. The game is just boring. It's also very lacking in polish. This gameplay package is so half-baked, I'm worried I'll get food poisoning. Sometimes moving shadows push you along, sometimes they force you out of the wall. UI is nothing more than the same text telling you to do something, or that you got a collectible, or what button you need to press. In this part, you need an umbrella to progress, and when you die, instead of just putting the checkpoint at where you have the umbrella, you need to grab it every single time. When you dash straight and not in line with the environment, so you just pop out of the wall. Collectibles start out well hidden in Act 1, but by Act 3 they are literally all placed in the same room. I know this because Act 3 was the only act where I got the collectible achievement. Small note, but the achievements all have the same description of unlocked when player does blank. It feels cheap. The game also does that thing where it just points out exactly where you need to go or what you need to do. This is fine in a puzzle platformer. You need to give the player a clear goal sometimes. But Contrast is not a puzzle platformer. It is a series of one-way escape rooms strung together. All of this, and we haven't even gotten to my biggest grievance with the game. It stops you every 30 seconds to play a cutscene. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. This game was trying my patience within the first 10 minutes. You walk a few meters, cutscene. You complete a room, cutscene. You go to a new place, cutscene. You breathe, cutscene. You think about all the other fun games you could be playing, cutscene. It grinds the game to a halt so much to tell you nothing. This is the biggest failing of the game in my mind. On top of controlling awfully and failing to capitalize on its cool premise, it is boring and downright infuriating with how much it stops you. I don't have words to describe how much I despised this gameplay, but I do have numbers, 1 out of 5. Okay, we should come up for air before diving back into how bad this package is. The art direction is okay. Not amazing, but at least it's better than the gameplay. First off, the world is very stylish and oozes noir. Neon lights and gloomy streets really set a mood, and I can at least say that the game makes a solid effort to look good. I like how the light looks and how the shadows are used to give depth to each area. Character models are very stiff and lack any defining traits. That's if there even is a character model to go with the character. Most characters are simply shadows, and whilst it looks novel, I'm not sure why this choice was made. It just feels like the devs were taking a shortcut. There is also no music backing the gameplay. It is just silence. Really lets you sit and think about what you're doing with your life. There is a nice song on the menu and in the credits. I really like this song. Why wasn't there more jazzy music in this style? Something to flesh out the world would have gone a long way. Lastly, I want to cover how cheap this game looks. Textures are flat and there are a lot of repeated assets. As with the gameplay, the art direction really could have used some more time. In the end, a cool world is worth very little if it's breaking apart at the seams. I'm giving the art direction here a 2 out of 5. We don't do spoilers in these videos, and we're keeping to that here. We're going to talk about why the narrative is terrible from a technical stance. Firstly, everything is told and nothing is shown, and worst of all, You have no active part in the story. You are an outsider, completely separate from everything going on. The story just starts. No context, no explanation, just straight in and figure it out as you go. This is so bad that I didn't even know my character's name until the end of Act 2. It's Dawn, by the way. Thematically, there is nothing interesting, no twists or turns. It's painfully predictable and downright boring. There are no stakes because the characters just do what the plot demands, and to top it all off, it just ends with no resolution. It's baffling. Honestly, the only words I have left for this narrative are that it gets a 1 out of 5. For what it's worth, we didn't experience any major bugs whilst playing. There were some weird clipping issues with shadows, but that was about it. These settings are laughable though. There are no control settings, just a picture of the control scheme. The controls in this game are not good in general, and to have no tweaks is even worse. You can invert the camera, and that's it. There is a gamma slider for video, and again, that's it. Audio has sliders for master, FX, and dialogue volume. You can enable subtitles, but there are no tweaks. This is bad because the subtitles are hard to read. They use the same font as the rest of the game, and it just isn't very legible. This is small, but the toggle settings have arrows on both sides, but you can only move each setting one way. It's just weird. I also find it kind of funny that there is a reset to default button for menus with one setting. I don't even know at this point. Contrast gets a 2 out of 5 for its technical offering. We're actually ending this review on a high note, for Contrast at least. Hard drive footprint is solid at 1.9 gigabytes. The game took us 2 hours to fully complete. This is broken up into 3 acts. If you want to play the entire game in one go, you'll be able to fit it into an evening. If you want to play an act a night, you're looking at about 45 minutes per session. On our commitment scale, this is looking pretty good, until you remember a point we brought up with gameplay. I cannot stress just how much this game stops you in your tracks to show you exactly what you need to do. In the beginning, it is unbearable. The game treats you like an idiot and disrespects your time in the process and loses major points for it. I actually shouted when I saw this pop-up appear after having my time wasted at the start of Act 2. I wanted to stop playing. Contrast gets a 3 out of 5 on our commitment scale. Contrast is absolutely not worth your time. If I find out any of you even thought about playing this, I won't be mad. I'll just be disappointed. It has been a long time since I've seen a game that lacks any form of identity. The premise is so cool, but the execution deserves execution. This whole package lacks polish, feels awful to play, and is downright boring. I don't know what else to say.
You hold me closely, but now I know you love me mostly.